hello and a very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheth. Thank you very much for logging in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, first up, location-based social network Public App has raised about 300 crore rupees, led by A91 partners. Existing investors also participated in this fundraise. Now, reports suggest that the latest funding, which comes around 6 months after it had picked up about $35 million last year, values Public at $250 million post-money. Public intends to utilize this capital to scale up infrastructure, grow content, as well as to recruit more people. Well, fintech startup Velocity has raised about $10.3 million in seed funding led by Villar Ventures. Velocity will be using this funding to ramp up its customer base and for further investment into creating financial instruments for the market. Well, processed foods exporter Alana Group has picked up a minority stake of about 1% in consumer products company LT Foods with an investment of 20 crore rupees. Now, with this partnership, both the companies plan to use their synergies as well as technology transfer to expand LT Foods consumer products business to focus on value added as well as impulse products. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, digital B2B marketplace for large manufacturing, Zetwork Manufacturing, has bought back shares worth $8.3 million from employees as well as early investors. Now, a large part of the Zetwork workforce participated in the employee stock options liquidation process, which was completed in 3 rounds. Now, this comes after Zetwork raised about $120 million in a series refunding from GreenOaks, Lightspeed, Sequoia, as well as Sky Capital.
Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me somebody who has been in news of late. The company has announced ESOPs worth $8.3 million. Tell us the thought process behind this and, what it really means for Zetwork at this point in time.
Thanks, Priya. Yes, as you mentioned, we just announced a ESOP buyback of 8.3 million. I think the primary thought process is, at Zetwork, we're building a long-term institution, a company that will hopefully outlive us, and that'll be around for the next many, many decades. And company is nothing but a collection of people. Of course, we build technology, we build intellectual property, etc. But ultimately, it's people who drive the company forward. And we wanted to show from our side, a sign of gratitude to everything that we have collectively gone through over the last 3 years. It's been a whirlwind of a journey, and especially the last year during COVID, it was especially even tougher. And this is a way of signaling our trust as founders and investors into the people who have built the company.
So, I'm going to come to all the details in terms of expansion and all of that in just a bit, but I want to begin by asking you about 2020. It was a year where business cycles have been volatile across several categories. But for Zetwork, I wanted to understand, considering that you are in the B2B space and that space has been hit the most in terms of manufacturing, etc., how has your growth journey been?
Yeah, Priya, you're right. Like when the lockdown happened in April, May, June of 2020, our business shrank 90% from pre-COVID levels. But what happened is, as the lockdown started getting lifted from July, we quickly touched back to 80% of pre-COVID, and by August we were back to 100% of our pre-COVID levels. Why was this happening? Fundamentally because the value proposition what Zetwork offers, which is digital selection of supply and remote monitoring of the manufacturing progress without really having to visit these supplier locations and really deploying people, that really resonated with all of our customers. We were already growing well before the pandemic, but what became a good to have, what was a good to have became a must have in our industry, where people were not able to physically travel and visit suppliers. They were not able to physically deploy people and get updates from these suppliers as to how is my manufacturing tracking from start to finish. All of this we provide in a very self-serve model to all of our customers, and they increasingly found comfort that let's work with these suppliers via Zetwork. They can solve our pain point, and it was a very easy sell. And hence, since August, when we recovered back to pre-COVID levels, we've already grown close to 3x in size, and this is just in the last 9 months. And by every indication, it's not a growth. We're not seeing that growth stop anytime soon. We're likely to grow 3x even the next financial year. even though the company's base is much larger.
Before I talk to you about the revenue targets and the growth outlook going forward, I want to ask you about the last year in terms of expansion. I do believe that you've entered into new categories like consumer electronics. So talk to us about what would be your key focus areas in terms of segments, and are there any more segments that you're planning to expand into?
Our core business is in manufacturing. So we work with mostly the industrial segment. That's still our largest category. What happened over the last 6 months or so is that a lot of newer opportunities presented themselves to us, primarily in consumer markets. All of us have heard about the supply chain shocks that happened in the months of August, where people wanted products to be made in India, and a lot of consumer brands reached out to us directly, saying, "Hey, can you help us make a television? Can you help us make a a consumer product?" Nothing in our website said we can do this, and all of this completely came inbound. What is happening is India is going through a radical transformation. Most of consumer electronics get imported from other countries. There's a big push from a regulatory point of view and from a customer preference that I want these products to be made in India. Also, I want a lot of agility in how my supply chain is, which when a big chunk of the supply chain is import dependent, it becomes very tough. So and that's the market trend that we are looking at largely, and it's a very decade long trend. It's not a short term trend at all. And that's how we expanded into consumer electronics as a category. Our view of the manufacturing industry broadly is very horizontal. When we work with design companies, they share the designs with us, and then we find the right supplier, we price that product, and we solve for fulfillment. And hence we are very industry agnostic. Beyond consumer electronics, we are present in oil and gas, steel, cement, sugar, airports, seaports, a lot of these traditional industries, and even apparel. It's a big industry for us. So our view is anywhere where there is supply fragmentation, where the market is heavily disorganized, that is where a company like us will have a strong role to play through a technology-led intervention. And it's a trend that is going to be around for the next decade or two.
As I understand, $120 million is the kind of funding that you all raised recently. What is the kind of utilization that is going to happen of this funding? And do you see, Zetworks raising another round of funding in the coming months?
Yeah, I mean, broadly, we raised a round to fund for investments. We are looking at doing M&As tactically, looking to acquire a few companies to overall strengthen the value proposition. We're also looking at international expansion in a big way. Today, our business is largely India focused, but already we have close to 50 customers in US, and we're looking to grow that. So those are the primary reasons why we went for a round. We're companies very well capitalized at this point in time, so there's no urgency to do a round. We will evaluate it on a case-by-case basis.
You spoke about international expansion in terms of having 50 customers already overseas. So what's the kind of international expansion plan? Are there specific countries that you're targeting to expand into?
So there's two lens. Like ours is a marketplace business. So on the demand side, we are mostly expanded to high-cost countries like US and Europe. We have close to 50 customers in these countries. Primarily, we are introducing supply from India. So these are customers who have never bought from India before, and we are presenting them Indian supply in a very calibrated manner so that it's very easy for them to select and work with these guys. Over a period of time, we'll expand the supply side also. Today, largely while we are supply focused in India, we are expanding supply side to Southeast Asia as well, where mostly it's Vietnam and countries around that geography. Bangladesh, we have a few suppliers there. So that will be the high level way in which we do it. Demand will go to high cost countries, supply will go to low cost countries, and create that linkage between these two markets.
A final question on your kind of revenue targets, and also in terms of customers, what is the kind of targets that you have in terms of customer acquisition? So if you could give me some sort of revenue targets by 2022, and I'm not going to ask you long-term targets because I don't want to get into speculation, but 2022, what kind of revenue targets, and in terms of customers, how do you look at expanding your customer base?
Yeah, so Priya, this year we grew 3x. We're going to touch close to 1,000 crores of revenue, and there is no reason why we will not grow 3x on this base as well. So that's the plan at this point in time. So grow on a similar base, scale at a much larger base.
And in terms of customers?
So we have close to 500 customers who are transacting with us, and these are largely large institutions like L&T, Tata, GE, and also a lot of small companies as well. The growth will be combination of new customers and existing customers. So accordingly we'll go.
All right, Amrit. Many thanks for joining us today, and it's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for being a part of Daily Dispatch.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, time to say goodbye. Many thanks for joining us on this episode of the Daily Dispatch. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and stay safe.